find crazy that this game was announced back in E3 2021, about 4 years ago, and every time a new trailer dropped, people lost their minds over it, myself included. The pixel art, the cyberpunk vibe, the Batman Arkham Knight combat on a 2D plane, it looked insane. But the delays kept coming, and somewhat along the way, people just started writing it off. They figured that either a game was gonna be vaporware or one of the games that looked incredible in 2-minute trailer and then falls apart the second that you're actually down to play it. So let me ask you something. What if I told you those people were wrong? What's good, everybody? Andre here, and today we're talking about Replace, the 2.5D cinematic action platformer from Sad Cat Studios and Thunderful Publishing that finally came out. And look, I had my skepticism about the game, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I sat down and I played through the whole thing, and I have a today. The story, the combat, the platforming, the visual, what works, what doesn't, and whether if this thing is worth the hype. And I will say this much right now to keep you watching. There's one thing about the game that I generally did not see coming, and it made me rethink my opinion about it midway through. I'll get into that, so stick around for it. Okay, so let's set the scene first. Replace is set in an alternate 1980s America, where instead of the bombs dropping on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were dropped on US soil. A third of the country turns into this radioactive wasteland, and out of the ashes rises the Phoenix Initiative, which sounds like a recovery program, but very quickly becomes a massive corrupted mega corporation. Classic stuff, you know? You play as Reach, an artificial intelligence who, after a catastrophic meltdown at Phoenix Corporation lab, ends up stuck inside of the body of a human operative named Warren, the guy who helped build Reach in the first place, which makes the whole dynamic interesting from the jump. The corporation sends people to clean up the mess instead of saving survivors, so Reach gets dumped outside of the walls of the Phoenix City and has to figure out how to survive this brutal neon-lit wasteland while navigating what it means to be human. It's a really cool premise, and honestly, the story does way more than I expected. Reach as a protagonist works really well because he's completely honest, almost to a fault. He's an AI trying to process human reality, and watching him interact with people, question why things are the way they are, and slowly reckon with mortality and identity makes for some generally compelling character work. There are moments where his logic just can't make sense of why somebody had to die when someone else didn't, and those memories really hit. The world also has a vibe that's way more retro-futuristic nor than straight up cyberpunk. Think less Cyberpunk 2077 and think more like side-scrolling Fallout with a dash of Blade Runner. It has that damp, grimy, barely holding together aesthetic, and it works incredibly well for the tone that they're going for. Now here's the thing though, and this is where I had to keep it real with you, the writing itself is not always up to the level of concepts behind it. Some of the dialogues are really rough. A couple of characters lean into being over the top in ways that don't always land. The alternate history stuff, like connecting real events like Watergate and the Bay of Pigs to the Phoenix Corporation, feels really surface level. It's there, but it doesn't go deep enough to actually say anything interesting about it. And the story is set in 1984, real subtle, guys. None of that kills the experience, so if you're going in hoping for a tight, polished writing all the way through, there's gonna be some moments where things feel a little janky, but I just wanted to set those expectations right. Now, gameplay wise, this is where stuff really started to be fun to talk about. Replace is broken into different modes to play through and rotate through the whole adventure. You got your platforming sections, your combat encounters, chase and stealth sequences, light puzzles, and a hub area that you return to between missions where you can talk to NPCs, pick up side quests, and even play arcade games. One of them is basically a Crazy Taxi clone, and if you beat the local girl's high score, you have a permanent health upgrade. Little stuff like that really goes a long way. The platforming is a classic cinematic platformer. If you ever played the original Prince of Persia: Another World flashback, you know the vibe. It's deliberate, it has weight to it, and you do need to time your inputs just a half beat early because there's a whole wind up before you actually jump. That's gonna feel stiff to some people who aren't used to it. I won't sugarcoat that, but if you got patience for the genre, you adjust pretty fast and it becomes really satisfying. The game also drip feeds you new movement abilities throughout. You get a double jump that works off air currents, a pickaxe to clean to crack walls, a hacking device to disable security system. Each one opens up a level design in ways that keep things really fresh. Speaking of the pickaxe, one of my legit gripes with the platforming is that the cracked walls that you need to use it really are hard to spot. The environments are so visually packed that those cracks get lost in the noise. It's a telegraphic issue and it costs me some unnecessary frustration here and there. But as far as the combat, the combat is where the game really starts to flex. It's Batman Arkham on a 2D plane. I know it sounds simple when you say it out loud, but that execution is generally satisfying. You got your basic attack, a parry for yellow indicator attacks, a dodge for red unblockable ones, and your main tool, the Huxley pistol. The Huxley doesn't just fire whenever you want. You have to charge it by landing hits and counters in combat. When it's fully charged and you're up close, Reach pulls off a cinematic finishing move with a headshot animation that never gets old. When you're far away from an enemy, you can use it to pick off ranged targets. It creates this rhythm where you have to stay aggressive to charge up and build up. but which stops you from just sitting back and playing defensively. And it grows. The game keeps introducing new enemy types, armor guys with shields that you have to break with a pickaxe before you can do damage to them, enemies whose shots you can deflect back at them, tank type guys who take real investment to take down. The combat never becomes a mindless button masher because you're always managing space, reading indicators, and making decisions about target priority. Now I gotta hit you guys with some real truth. About halfway through, I was generally feeling like this game was built to be something special. The combat was clicking, the visuals were consistently blowing me away, the world was expanding in places that I didn't expect. Snowy forests, underground mines, post-apocalyptic towns, way more variety than I really expected. I thought I was in for one of the best indie experiences that I've had in a while. And then I started noticing some cracks in the game. Around the third quarter mark, the enemy variety really stopped growing. You've seen most of what the combat had to offer by then, and the encounters started to feel a little repetitive. The boss fights had some real difficulty spikes that felt inconsistent with the rest of the game. Some of them are long, multi-phase battles with no mid-fight checkpoint. And when you get hit with a cheap moment during the back half when you've been grinding through it, it really stings. The pacing of the story also drags in a couple of spots, particularly in sections where you're stopping repeatedly just to interact with environment objects, and it tips into a walking simulator territory. So I went from really high on this game to going, okay, wait a minute, it's gonna kinda lose me. The game didn't lose me, and here's why. The thing that I didn't expect, and the thing that saved this game for me, is how much variety the overall experience actually has. I went in just assuming that this was going to be a tight 4-hour indie, where the front load of all of it was going to be good stuff. Instead, I got 8 hours plus of content that generally tries to keep you engaged the whole time. The locations kept changing, the mechanics keep evolving just enough, and the game consistently delivers moments that make you stop and just take it all in. Which takes me to the presentation, which is the real star of the entire game. Replaces one of the most visually impressive things that I've seen in the indie space. Full stop, the pixel art on the characters is beautifully animated. Every little movement, every little nuance, captured with a level of craft that most games with the 10 times the budget don't come even close to. In the way that they blend the 2D character work with the 3D layered backgrounds, create this incredible depth that feels completely natural. Most games that try to mix those two visual styles end up just looking like a science experiments. The game makes this look seem effortless. The environments are loaded with detail, walk through the station market, and just so much are going on in the backgrounds. Run down stalls, different type of lighting sources, shoddy building signs, barely functioning equipment. There's these moments where the camera just pulls back and lets you sit with a wide shot that looks like a concept art framed on your wall. And the synth-heavy soundtrack perfectly matches the mood. Sometimes it's moody and atmospheric, sometimes it can get oppressive industrial when it escalates. It all comes together beautifully. There's also some of the most visually spectacular stuff at the final stretch, which is honestly impressive. Most games blow their visual budget really early. This one keeps delivering. And here's the thing, it's just $20, just 20 simple dollars for this game. If you got Game Pass, it's on there day one. So if that's you, you're literally has no reason to not to run it. For $20 indie, the sheer amount of content and production quality you're getting is generally hard to believe. So where does Replace land for me? It's a really good game. Not a perfect one, the writing has some rough patches, the variety runs dry too early, the bosses could have used another balance pass, and the pacing does stumble in a couple of spots, but the overall experience, it delivered. The combat is satisfying, the world generally is worth exploring, the story has enough heart to it to keep you invested, and the presentation is flat out stunning from the beginning to end. If you like cinematic platformers, or even if you never touched the genre but you like Batman Arkham combat and a strong sense of atmosphere, Replace is worth your time. It took 4 years and a lot of delays to get here, but it stuck the landing, and that's more than most games can say. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did you grab this one, or is this the first time that you're hearing about it? Let me know what you guys think. I'll read each and every one of them. And hey, if you want more gaming content like this, come hang out on Twitch. Andre the Alpha is my username, and I'm regularly live and we keep things real and fun over there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, jump on those platforms, and stay alpha.